The blizzard swallowed the world whole, and Cole Dawson rode blind through its belly, trusting his horse more than his eyes. Snow came sideways like God's own fury, 3 miles from home. Tommy and Lily Ann waiting by the fire, expecting him an hour ago. The mare stumbled, balked, refused to move forward. "Come on, girl," Cole urged through frozen lips. The horse stamped, snorted, something ahead. Cole dismounted, boots sinking deep. Wind screamed. He pushed forward, hand shielding his face, a dark shape in the snowdrift. Deadfall timber. Maybe, except timber didn't have lace edges catching moonlight. Cole dropped to his knees and dug. Wedding dress, frozen stiff as canvas, and beneath it, a woman, lips blue, skin like marble, barely breathing. No tracks, no wagon, no sense to any of it. "Lord have mercy," he whispered. "Out here. You find trouble or trouble finds you, but you never leave it breathing in the snow." Cole lifted her, dead weight. Ice crackled off the fabric. He draped her across the saddle and climbed up behind, holding her steady with one arm. The mare needed no urging, now she knew the way home. Cabin light appeared through the white curtain. Warmth and safety just ahead. Cole kicked the door open. "Get blankets," he barked. "Hot water. Now." Tommy, 10 years old and steady as a rock, grabbed wool from the chest. Lily Ann, 7 and quick as a bird, ran for the kettle. Cole laid the woman by the fire. Her dress cracked as he moved her. He worked fast, stripping the frozen gown clinical, hands shaking from cold and something else. Her skin felt like touching death itself. He wrapped her in blankets, checked her pulse. Thread thin, but present. Lily Ann stared, eyes wide. "Papa, is she an angel?" Cole rubbed his face. "Angels don't freeze. Sweetheart, she's just lost." The woman's eyelids fluttered. A moan escaped her lips. "Not dead, not yet." Tommy stepped closer, protective instinct already forming. "Who is she? Don't know, son." Cole pulled the blankets tighter around her. "But she's alive. That's what matters tonight." The stranger had entered their sealed world. The blizzard howled outside and inside. 3 people watched a 4th person fight her way back from the edge. Cole hadn't carried a woman over his threshold in 4 years. Not since Sarah died. Now here he was, holding a frozen bride he didn't know, trying to pull her back from whatever darkness she'd been running toward. Or running from. She woke to firelight and pain, the brutal ache of frozen flesh, remembering what warmth felt like. Grace opened her eyes. Strange ceiling. Strange shadows. A man's face came into focus, weathered, bearded, watching her with something between concern and wariness. Terror shot through her. She tried to rise. Her body refused. "Easy," the man said. Hands raised. "You're safe." Safe. The word meant nothing. Grace's breath came shallow. "Where? Montana. My cabin. Found you in a snowdrift, about dead." His voice was steady, not unkind. "You want to tell me how you got there?" Grace looked down. She wore a man's flannel shirt. Wool blankets wrapped around her. Her wedding dress was gone. Panic clawed at her throat. "I need to leave," she managed. "Storm's still raging. You'd die in 10 minutes. He gestured toward the window. Wind rattled the glass. "You're stuck here till it passes. Name's Cole Dawson. That's my son Tommy. Daughter Lily Ann up in the loft." A small face peered down from above. The girl, curious eyes, no fear. "What's your name?" "Miss," the child called softly. Grace's throat tightened. "Grace." Grace Porter. "That's pretty," Lily Ann said. "Like a prayer." Morning came gray and cold. The storm had eased to steady snow. Grace tried to help despite her weakness, folded a blanket, straightened the table. Small ways to earn her keep. Cole stopped her with a gentle hand. You need rest. I don't take charity, Grace said, voice firmer than she felt. A hint of a smile crossed his face. Good. Neither do I. But sometimes we take mercy. Tommy brought her broth, watched her like she might vanish, or like she might hurt his father. Grace understood that look. She'd worn it herself once, protecting someone she loved. Who leaves a woman in a blizzard? Cole asked later. When the children were occupied, Grace stared into her cup. Someone who never wanted her to begin with. The words hung there. Cole didn't press. He'd seen enough pain to recognize it in others. That evening, Grace watched Cole with his children, patient hands braiding Lily Ann's hair, steady voice teaching Tommy to check the firewood supply. A good father. A grieving man going through motions of living. She recognized that motion, felt it in her own bones. Two broken people under one roof. Outside, the storm raged on. A storm don't ask permission, it just comes. Same with second chances. Grace pulled the blanket tighter and wondered if she'd brought the storm with her. Or if maybe, just maybe, it had brought her somewhere she needed to be. Cole hadn't slept. He'd watched her breathe all night. Half afraid she'd stop. Half afraid she wouldn't. Morning light came weak through the frosted window. The storm had finally broken. Grace sat up, face set with determination that looked like desperation. I have to go, she said. Too dangerous, Cole replied, stoking the fire. Snow's still deep, roads impassable. You don't understand, her voice cracked. It's dangerous for me to stay. Dangerous for you, for them. Cole turned, studied her. Dangerous, how Grace's hands twisted in the blanket. He'll come looking. Come on, she said the name like a curse. Warren Kent. Cole froze. Everyone in 3 counties knew that name. Land baron, owned half the territory. Ruthless as winter itself. What's he to you? Cole asked, though dread already told him. Grace told it plain. No embellishment. Orphan at 6. Seamstress by 14. Debt from trying to save a sick friend. Kent's offer marriage to clear the debt. Contract signed under duress. Fine print she couldn't read until too late. He bought me, she said flatly. Like livestock. I realized on the wedding day what he'd done. So I ran. Stole his horse. Rode into the blizzard. Chose dying free over living owned. Cole's jaw worked. Rage cold and controlled settled in his chest. He won't touch you. He has the law. Grace said, and I'm nothing. You're not nothing. The words came harder than he meant. Not here. Not to them. Lily Ann's voice drifted from the loft. Is Grace going to stay? Papa. Cole looked at Grace. Saw his wife Sarah in her somewhere not the features, but the courage. Sarah had been brave too. Brave enough to love a rough man. Brave enough to give him children. Brave enough to die trying to bring one more into the world. He'd shut down after that. Raised Tommy and Lily Ann like duty. Kept breathing because they needed him to. But his heart had frozen solid as the ground over Sarah's grave. This woman thawed something. Dangerous. Painful. Real. Long as you want. Cole called up to his daughter. He met Grace's eyes. Long as you want. Grace shook her head. You don't know what you're risking. Yeah, Cole said quietly. I do. He took the wedding dress from where it hung steaming by the fire. Walked outside. Hung it in the barn where she wouldn't have to see it. A man's word is his law out here once given. It's iron. Cole had given his word, no taking it back now. He'd protect her. Teach her what home felt like. Stand between her and whatever came looking. The storm had broken. The sky stretched pale and empty. Somewhere south. Warren Kent was probably already searching. Let him come. Cole Dawson had lost enough. He wasn't losing this. She'd become part of the rhythm coffee at dawn. Bread rising. Lily Ann's laughter finally reaching the corners of the cabin again. 2 weeks passed. February thaw came early, turning snow to mud, making trails passable. Grace earned her keep and more. Her hands were magic with needle and thread-mending clothes worn thin, teaching Lily Ann to embroider wildflowers on a pillowcase. She cooked meals that tasted like memories of better days, stew thick with vegetables from the root cellar, biscuits that made Tommy close his eyes in appreciation. Cole watched her. Couldn't help it. The way she moved efficient, graceful, constantly useful. The way she smiled at his children. The way she flinched sometimes when he moved too quickly, then forced herself to relax. Trust was a slow seed, but it was growing. One evening, children asleep in the loft. Cole split wood while Grace mended by lamplight. She broke the comfortable silence. "Tell me about your wife." Cole's axe paused mid-swing. He finished the stroke, set down the tool, sat across from her. "Sarah was good," he said finally. "Too good for me, probably, kind to everyone, patient with my rough edges." He stared at his hands. "Died bringing Lily Ann into the world. I blamed God, stopped praying, just existed after that." Grace's needle stilled. "I know that motion. Feels like drowning in air." Their eyes met. Understanding passed between them, the kind only broken people recognize in each other. "You brought something back," Cole admitted. "Don't know what to call it, but the kids, they're alive again." "Really alive, not just going through it." Grace looked away. "Your children deserve better than a runaway bride. They deserve someone who makes them laugh again." Cole leaned forward. "You do." The next day, Cole fixed a loose board on the roof. Grace handed him nails, their fingers brushing with each exchange. He made a joke, something about Montana weather having only 2 seasons, winter and August. Grace laughed. Actually laughed. Tommy and Lily Ann stopped playing to stare. They hadn't heard their father joke in 4 years. That afternoon, old Henry Doyle rode up. His wife Martha's family had been on this land since before Montana was a state. Good people. Honest people. Henry spotted Grace through the window. "Didn't know you had company." "Cole." "She's helping with the children," Cole said carefully. Henry nodded, eyes knowing. "Town's got eyes. Son. They'll talk. Let them talk. It ain't the talking that worries me. It's what comes after." Henry tipped his hat. "You need anything? Martha and I are just over the ridge. Don't be a stranger." After he left, Grace stood at the window, staring toward the distant town she couldn't see. Cole moved beside her. "Whatever comes, we face it." She wanted to believe him, tried to believe him. Sunshine's good, but it shows what the snow was hiding. Grace touched her hand to the glass. Somewhere out there, Warren Kent was searching, and small-town gossip traveled faster than horses. She'd found something precious here. Family, home, maybe even love. Though she barely dared name it, which meant she had something to lose, and that terrified her more than the blizzard ever had. She'd carried the secret like stones in her pockets, every day heavier. Every day closer to drowning. Grace broke on a Tuesday night. Children asleep. Fire crackling. Cole carving a wooden horse for Tommy's birthday. Peaceful scene. Too peaceful for the storm inside her. "I need to tell you everything," she whispered. Cole set down his knife. Waited. It poured out. Orphanage at 6 cold walls. Colder hearts. Seamstress work at 14. Fingers bleeding from pushing needles through thick fabric. A friend, her only friend, sick with fever. Grace spent everything trying to save her. The friend died anyway. Debt remained. Warren Kent's offer came wrapped in respectability. Marriage. He'd clear her debt, give her security. The contract had fine print she couldn't read. A pastor she'd never met witnessed her signature. Wedding day. She saw the truth. His smile when he looked at her wasn't love. It was ownership. The way he touched her arm, possessive and cold. The whispers from his ranch hands, another one. How long before this one runs? I realized I wasn't a wife, Grace said, voice hollow. I was property, bought and paid for. He'd done it before, found desperate women, trapped them legally, used them up. Cole's knuckles were white. How'd you get away? Ran during the ceremony. Stole his best horse. Rode blind. The blizzard came up fast. I remember thinking this is better. Freezing to death is better than living as his thing. Silence settled heavy as snow. He won't touch you, Cole said, words like iron. He has the law, Grace repeated. And I'm nothing. Fallen woman, debtor, runaway. Pick your label, they all mean I don't matter. Cole crossed the space between them, gripped her shoulders, gentle but firm. You're not nothing. Not here. Not to them. Not to... He stopped. Couldn't say it. Not yet. Too much. Too soon. Too frightening. Grace saw it anyway. Read it in his eyes. I'll destroy everything you've built, she whispered. You're what I've been building toward. The kiss happened like lightning sudden. Inevitable. Electric. His lips on hers, rough and desperate. She kissed back. 4 years of loneliness crashing into 4 years of grief. Then she pulled away. Terrified. I can't. I'll bring him here. He'll take your land. Hurt your children. Ruin. Let him try, Cole said, but doubt lived in Grace's eyes. Love was one thing. Survival was another. The next morning, Grace asked to burn the dress. Cole built a fire in the yard. She threw the white fabric in. It hissed and blackened and disappeared into smoke. Lily Ann watched from the window. Is she staying forever now? Papa? Tommy, older and wiser, frowned. What if the bad man comes? Cole had no answer that wouldn't be a lie. That night, Grace couldn't sleep. Stood at the window, watching tree-lined shadows. Didn't see the rider hidden there, Kent's man, counting days, reporting back. Past's just smoke if you don't keep feeding the fire, but some fires don't ask permission. They just come. And this one was already riding north. Cole rode into town with Grace beside him, and every head turned like they'd brought the plague. Redemption Flats, 12 miles south. Main Street lined with false front buildings. Church steeple pointing at God like an accusation. Saturday market day meant everyone would see. Cole refused to hide her. You're not a secret. Grace's hands trembled on the reins. Cole, you're not a secret, he repeated. Firmer. They tied horses at the general store. Eyes followed them inside. Mrs. Talbot, the shopkeeper's wife, stopped mid-sentence. Her voice carried clear as Sunday bells. Living in sin. She announced to no one and everyone. Those poor motherless children exposed to it. Shameful. Other women nodded, whispered behind hands. Grace's face turned to stone, but her jaw trembled. Cole bought supplies in silence. Paid. Started to leave. Reverend Miller blocked the door. Brother Dawson. A word. They stepped outside. The preacher's face wore concern and judgment in equal measure. Your soul's at risk harboring a fallen woman. She's not fallen, Cole said through clenched teeth. She ran from slavery. She broke a contract before God. God don't honor chains. Before the Reverend could respond, a voice cut through the tension like a knife through butter smooth. Educated. Poisonous. Cole Dawson, heard you found my bride. Warren Kent stood in the street. Tall, handsome. Expensive clothes. Evil dressed up for church. 3 ranch hands flanked him. The sheriff stood nearby, already in Kent's pocket by the look of him. Kent smiled. walked forward like he owned the ground under his feet. Probably did. Miss Porter, he said, voice dripping false warmth. You had your adventure. Time to come home. Grace's voice shook but held. I'd rather die. Kent's smile never wavered. That can be arranged. Cole stepped between them. She's not going anywhere. Interesting. Kent produced papers from his coat. Because according to this legal contract, signed and witnessed, she's bound to me. Failure to honor it constitutes theft. He glanced at the sheriff. Isn't that right, Sheriff Perkins? A weak man who'd sold his spine years ago. Nodded. Contract's binding. Cole, she's his legal property. People aren't property, Cole growled. Law says different when debts are involved. Kent's eyes glittered. I'll be merciful. Return her, or I take your land as compensation for breach of contract. You have 3 days. The street went silent. Cole looked around for allies, saw nothing but turned backs and averted eyes. Good Christian folk protecting themselves? Only Henry and Martha Doyle stepped forward from the crowd. We stand with Cole, Henry said quietly. Kent laughed. How touching. 3 days. Dawson, choose wisely. He tipped his hat to Grace, mocking, possessive, mounted his horse and rode away with his men, leaving chaos in his wake. A man who smiles while he threatens ain't a man, he's a snake in a Sunday suit. The ride home crushed them with silence. Grace finally spoke, voice dead. I'm leaving tonight. I won't let him take your children's home. We'll find another way, Cole said, but doubt was a poison in his veins. Could he really choose her over his children's security? What kind of father would that make him? What kind of man would it make him if he didn't? He'd face down grizzlies, outlaws, and winter storms, but watching her fold her borrowed clothes broke him clean in half. Night before the deadline, cabin lit by single lamp. Lillian and Tommy had cried themselves to sleep an hour ago. Grace packed her few belongings with mechanical precision. Don't, Cole said from the doorway. I have to. Grace didn't look up. Your children need a home more than I need freedom. That's not... It's true. She finally met his eyes. Hers were dry, past tears. Tommy and Lillian lost their mother. They can't lose their home, too. I won't be the reason they suffer. Cole wanted to argue. Couldn't find words that didn't sound selfish. After Grace went to the loft to say goodbye to the children, Cole walked outside, sat on the porch step, stared at stars that didn't care about human pain. First time he'd prayed in 4 years, and the words came bitter. God, I buried my wife in my heart with her. You sent Grace and I'm alive again. Now you're taking her. His voice cracked. What kind of mercy is this? Silence, cold wind. No answers. Cole put his face in his hands. Silent tears, the kind that hurt worse than screaming. Hoofbeats broke through his grief. Martha Doyle rode up fast, her horse lathered. Henry helped her dismount. I found something, Martha said, breathless. She thrust papers at Cole. Kent's contract. I've been digging since you came to town. That signature witness forged. The magistrate seal fake. Coercion documented by 2 women who escaped him before Grace. Cole's heart hammered. It's not binding, not legally, but you'll need to prove it. Public trial. And Cole, Martha's face was grave. You'll have to testify her character before a town that hates her. It won't be easy. When the night's darkest, that's when you find out what you're made of, and who'll stand in the dawn with you. Henry said quietly. Cole looked at the papers, at Martha's determined face, at Henry's steady support, then back at the cabin where Grace was saying goodbye to his children. He made his choice, walked inside. Grace sat by the fire, hollow-eyed. Cole knelt before her, took her hands. I'm not letting you go. Not to him, not to shame. If they take the land, we rebuild. but we rebuild together. He squeezed her fingers. Will you trust me? Grace's voice broke. I trust you. I just don't trust the world. Then we'll change their minds. He pulled out Sarah's Bible, hadn't touched it since she died. Inside, a verse she'd marked, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves." Cole looked at Grace, at the children watching from the loft, at Henry and Martha standing ready. Get some sleep, he said. At dawn, we ride to town, all of us, and we end this. For the first time in days, something like hope flickered in Grace's eyes. Outside, the night was darkest, but the horizon held the promise of dawn, and Cole Dawson had always been a man who kept his promises. The town of Redemption Flats was about to live up to its name, or prove the name a lie. Noon. Town square packed. Kent sat on the church steps like a king on a throne, 3 ranch hands behind him. Sheriff Perkins stood official, hand on his gun belt. The crowd pressed close, hungry for judgment, hungry for spectacle. Cole rode in with Grace beside him, Tommy and Lily Ann behind, Henry and Martha flanking them. Small army against the mob. Sheriff called order. Warren Kent has brought legal claim against Grace Porter for breach of contract. He demands her return or compensation. Kent stood. All false sympathy. I don't want trouble. Just what's mine. He produced his contract. Legal and binding. Witnessed and sealed. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Law was law, after all. Martha stepped forward. That contract's a fraud. She laid out evidence piece by piece. Forged witness signature, the supposed witness had been dead 2 months when the contract was signed. No magistrate seal, the one on the document belonged to a county 300 miles away. Testimonies from 2 other women Kent had trapped the same way. Kent's smile tightened. Desperate lies from desperate people. Sheriff, do your duty. Perkins hesitated. Evidence was damning. But Kent owned half his debts. Cole stood. Voice rang clear across the square. You want testimony, I'll give you testimony. He didn't use legal words. Didn't need to. He spoke truth plain and simple. You call her fallen. I call her brave. She ran from slavery you'd have ignored. For 2 months, she's mended my children's clothes, taught my daughter to sing again after 4 years of silence, made my house a home instead of just walls I exist inside. His voice grew stronger. If loving an honest woman who chose death over chains is sin, then judge me. Because I'm asking her to marry me. Real marriage. Free choice. No contracts. No ownership. Just 2 broken people choosing to build something whole. He met Grace's shocked eyes. And if you take my land for that, then this town's got no soul worth saving. Silence fell like snow. Then Lily Ann broke free from Martha's arms, ran to Grace. Please be my mama. Please don't go. Grace dropped to her knees, sobbing, held the child tight. Tommy joined them. Image of family broken people making each other whole. Mrs. Talbot, the harsh shopkeeper's wife, wiped her eyes, stepped forward. I was wrong. She's not fallen. She's standing stronger than most of us. Others nodded, murmured agreement. Reverend Miller's face turned red with shame. Perhaps we've been unchristian. Kent's mask cracked. He grabbed Grace's arm viciously. You're mine. I paid for you. The crowd gasped. Cole moved, but Sheriff Perkins got there first. Pulled Kent's hand away. That's assault. Kent. Perkins's voice was different now, found his spine at last. Contract or no. You just showed what you are. Kent turned on everyone, spitting fury. Threatened the town. Threatened Cole. Revealed the corruption underneath his polished exterior. Big mistake. Town turned. Told him to leave. Never come back. Kent rode out in disgrace. Ranch hands scattering. his power broken by simple truth. Cole knelt before Grace publicly, crowd watching. But he didn't care. Grace Porter, will you marry me? Not because you owe me, because I love you, because my children love you, because you make us whole. Grace couldn't speak, just nodded. Yes, I will. I choose you. I choose this. Justice ain't always loud. Sometimes it's just good people finally saying enough. Town surrounded them. Apologies, blessings, offers of help. Cole's land deed returned to his hand. But more than that, Grace's dignity restored. Her freedom won. Her life her own again. Reverend Miller cleared his throat. I believe I owe you a proper wedding. No charge. Least I can do. Grace looked at Cole, at the children holding her hands, at the town that had judged her and then chosen mercy. Yes, she whispered. Yes to all of it. The sun broke through clouds. Spring was coming, and with it, new life. Grace Dawson, that name still felt like borrowed clothes. But warmer every day, knelt in the garden and planted hope in neat rows. 3 months later. June. Montana summer in full bloom. The cabin had grown new room added for the baby coming in September. Garden flourishing. Wildflowers everywhere. Like the land itself was celebrating. Grace touched her swollen belly. Life growing inside her, literal and metaphorical. Hard to measure the distance from that frozen bride in the snow to this woman planting seeds in her own soil. Lily Ann helped, chattering about baby names. What about Sarah for Papa's first wife? Grace smiled. That's beautiful, sweetheart. We'll ask your papa. Tommy chopped wood with Cole working side by side. Easy rhythm. The boy had grown 2 inches. Started smiling again. Called Grace Mama, without hesitation now. Henry and Martha visited weekly. Grandparent figures the children had never had. The town had mostly come around. Some folks still crossed the street when they saw Grace, but most nodded. Some even apologized. Grace didn't need their approval anymore. She had something better, family. Cole joined her in the garden, knelt beside her. His hands covered hers, guiding seeds into earth. Think they'll grow? She asked. With you tending them, Cole smiled. No doubt. Their wedding bands caught sunlight. Simple ceremony a month after the trial. Whole town invited. Most came. Reverend Miller presiding. Voice trembling with conviction he'd found too late, but found nonetheless. That evening. Family gathered on the porch. Cole whittled a cradle. Grace sewed baby clothes. Children played in the yard, catching fireflies as dusk fell. Tommy approached his father. Papa, do you still miss Mama Sarah? Cole set down his knife. Honest answer. Every day. Son. But I'm grateful too. She gave me you and your sister. And I think she'd want us happy. Grace makes us happy. Tommy nodded, satisfied. Ran back to join Lily Ann. Grace watched them. Watched the mountains turning gold in sunset. Felt Cole's hand find hers. Tell us again how Papa found you, Mama? Lily Ann called. Grace smiled. He found a frozen bride and gave her a life worth living. Cole squeezed her hand. Nah, you gave us one. The sky painted itself pink and orange. Birds called their evening songs. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote howled wild and free and alive. Grace thought about the blizzard, about Kent, about the girl she'd been, choosing death over slavery, about the woman she'd become, choosing life and love and family. The blizzard that nearly killed me brought me home, she thought. Sometimes mercy looks like a storm, but it always ends in morning. And this morning, this one's ours. Built the hard way, the only way that lasts. The best things in life come the hard way earned, not given. And once earned, they're yours forever. Cole pulled her close. Children's laughter filled the air. Baby kicked inside her, Home, finally. Truly. Deeply built. Not with walls and wood, with choice. With courage. With love strong enough to weather any storm. Spring had come. Summer blazed. And ahead, autumn would bring new life. Grace Dawson smiled. Put her hand on her belly. Cole's hand over hers. Together. They watched the sun set on one day and promise another. The frozen bride had thawed, had bloomed, had become something neither slavery nor storm could ever touch again. She'd become free. She'd become home. She'd become herself. The end.